Hello, everyone. Welcome to FS Changemakers. And as always, we have an amazing woman joining us today to talk about her journey and help us all learn from the same. The person joining us today is Nansi Mishra. Nansi is the co founder of 100x Entrepreneur, which is one of India's leading startup focused podcasts. She is also a young mother. Congratulations for that, and has also recently been selected as one of LinkedIn top voices next gen in India. Today, we will be talking about her personal journey in the startup world, and also how she manages doing everything by only working 4 hours a day. Nansi, welcome.
Thank you so much, Adarsh, for inviting me here.
Our pleasure. Nancy, so first things first, let's talk about how you got into the startup world.
So I was in my final year of graduation, and that time I realized that I was not learning many things apart from the academic syllabus. So I thought, why don't I join a startup and learn things like community building, content writing, marketing. So I joined a healthcare startup called Baby Gogo that time. I interned with them, and that company got acquired by a larger company called Shiros. I worked with Shiros for 2 years in the roles like community roles and marketing roles. And during that time, we started 100x Entrepreneur podcast.
Awesome. So, Nancy, as you mentioned as well, right? Most of your roles have been focused on community building and community management. Was that something which happened by chance, or you think that that is something that you always wanted to do?
I think it comes naturally to me. I think my background has played a major role in that. I was born in a village and I lived there for many years. My father got a job in a tier 3 city in UP. We all moved there and I saw people struggling living in villages and people who are migrating to smaller cities, people who migrate to big cities, struggling to evolve. So I think that observation, that ability to connect with people really helped me in community building. And I think that's the core of community building. If you can connect with people around you. And of course, storytelling also. My family always teases me saying that you always have stories to share. I think my ability to connect with people and storytelling helps me.
No, definitely, that is so true. The ability to connect with people is at some level the crux of community building, right? So how did you come up with the idea of 100x Entrepreneur, and how has the journey been in the last 2 years that you've now been running?
As I told earlier, we were a part of Shios. I and my husband, we both were working with Shios, and that time we discussed that we both wanted to grow ourselves. We both wanted to learn more, and we said we have already experienced the journey from 0 to 1, and what happens in the journey of 1 to 10. What takes fundraising and so we started connecting with more successful VCs, entrepreneurs that time, and we started enjoying those conversations, and we started sharing those conversations with other people, and those people, came to us and said, "You have a very nice podcast." And we were like, we don't even, that time we didn't even think about starting a podcast. We were like, okay, let's start a podcast. Let's give it a name. And because we always, we used to say that we wanted to become 100x of ourselves. So that's how the name came, 100x Entrepreneur.
That's amazing. Nancy, one thing obviously which is very interesting, right? You recently wrote, I think on LinkedIn, that unlike many of you, I only work for 4 hours. That's not a choice. That's the only option, right? And I think that that was linked to the fact that you're now a mother and there's a baby also to take care of. And I found it to be very interesting, right? Because generally when we look at women, especially after having a kid, there are two extremes of sorts, right? So on one end, we have women who are willing to take a break for a few years to take care of the kid, and on the other extreme, we also have women who are back to work within a week or 10 days, to because there is work to be done. what made you come with this structure of working 4 hours a day, etc.? What were your thoughts behind it?
So when I got to know that I was pregnant, I was 24 years old. And that day I had mixed feelings. I was obviously very happy by the thought that I am going to become a mother. But I was also getting thoughts like what will happen to my career, because I had just started that time. 100x was new. And I really enjoyed my maternity leave. I really enjoyed my pregnancy time. And we my husband got a job in Bangalore, so we all moved from Delhi to Bangalore. And when the 6 months of maternity was over, I was feeling like I was supposed to be working, but baby was still very small and I had no routine to follow. I was just doing the same things I was doing past like 6 months. But I was feeling this pressure that I am supposed to be working this time. But baby, how will baby know that this is mama's working time? I should be sleeping. So I was, getting a lot of negative thoughts. I used to feel very irritated those times, and it started affecting my mental and physical health. I think I lost 16 kg that time. But after 1 year, I think it was my baby's first birthday. During that time, I realized that my work gives me some kind of satisfaction, and I should structure my work rather than irritating that I'm not able to work. I should be working this time, but baby is not sleeping, and I'm it's showing my anger to my baby, which was which made me feel more guilty. So I started structuring my work hours, and I started asking for more help. Previously, I was thinking that I'll manage everything. I am a good mom and I'm supposed to be doing all the cleaning work and massaging my baby, bathing him, and all that. But then I started asking for help. My mom in law and my sister in law, I told them that you have to manage him for 2 3 hours no matter what. आप देख लो आपका क्या रूटीन है, आप सेट कर लो, but I have to work. And those 4 hours really helped me, and I was so happy. I was feeling so productive. I shared my story on LinkedIn, and that story went viral, and it gave me a lot of confidence. And but I also realized that after 4 hours I will not work, because I think baby is still small, and beyond 4 hours we both are not we won't be able to live without each other beyond 4 hours. So I think this model is working well for now. Maybe after some time I'll think of picking more work.
Sure. But do you think that at some level it's also a bit easy for you, given that you are working on your own? How can people or women out there manage the situation when they are, working for someone else, or typically in a job where you don't have this kind of flexibility?
Yes, I think having your own venture definitely helps you. Like I can set out my own working hours. And just an example, yesterday my baby was crying a lot when I was leaving for work. And he cried so much that he started vomiting. And I had to delay 2 hours, like my work. And I think it's difficult when you have a fixed 9 to 5 job. You can't give excuses every day. They are not excuses, but maybe you are the first one who first mother in your circle, among your colleagues, and they are not able to understand you, and you are like potty training phase is also going on, and weaning phase is also going on, and they are like every day she has something to she's delaying her work and things like that. But so having your own venture definitely helps. But I think women also need to realize that they need to learn how to ask for help, understand their colleagues, what's going on in their lives, how they're feeling mentally and physically, how babies growing up, how they need more support in work. I think they need to ask for help. I have experienced that phase.
Sure. Thanks for sharing that. So, another interesting thing is the fact that you run your venture with your husband, Siddharth, who probably some of our audience would recognize from the podcast. So how is the experience, working with your husband and running a venture?
So I think having him as co-founder really helps me. We have an understanding. We know each other's strengths and weaknesses. We divide our work accordingly. And there are days when I feel very tired. He sees me experiencing those things. He sees baby getting very cranky, and those days he will take the lead. Obviously, he has a full time job with Amazon, but he will be more patient with me. He will try to help me because he sees me throughout the day. So I think having him as co-founder really helping me, especially during this phase.
So, as we spoke about the fact that you've been selected as a LinkedIn top voice next gen, what does having a voice or being a top voice mean to you?
Uh, it gave me a lot of confidence. Earlier, I was not very sure of sharing my motherhood stories on LinkedIn. I interned with a NGO called Goonj. That time, I was very active on LinkedIn. But when I became a mom, I thought these stories cannot be shared on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not the right platform. Uh, but when you know the right way to share your story, when you are most authentic, people connect with you. And when people connect with you, when you start inspiring people, creating an impact, and in that process you discover yourself, you find your own voice. And it's so you feel so confident when you know what your voice is, what you are really passionate about, what your interests are. So I think having discovering your own voice is very important.
No, so it's a very interesting point that you bring up because see, if we look at how LinkedIn operates, right, that uh, if there are times even I am, thinking of sharing something on LinkedIn, and then you're, second guessing yourself that is it the right content for LinkedIn? Do people on LinkedIn really care about something like this, right? So can I share something lighthearted, or it really has to be some business wisdom or something like that? So what are your thoughts on this, and what are some of the things that work for you on LinkedIn?
So as I told you, when I was working with Shiros, when I was working with Goonj, I had work-related things to share on LinkedIn. But when I became a mother, I was more involved in homely stuff and taking care of the baby. And I realized that I'm not able to connect with people on LinkedIn, and they will also not connect with me if I share this stuff. And I was obviously working for 100x, but I didn't have that much time to think about things. But I was exploring LinkedIn and I saw one comedian on LinkedIn. He's very famous and he shares work related jokes on LinkedIn and people relate with him. So I think you find a way to be, active on LinkedIn, to share your story your way. So I shared my story on LinkedIn, and that, like, how do I manage my baby, how I balance my work hour, and how much time I dedicate to self care. And so many mothers started messaging me, they started connecting with me, and it gave me a lot of confidence. And I'm like, now I know what I need to share with them on LinkedIn. So I think connecting with right people and finding your own story is really important, because when you are authentic, you connect with people instantly.
Now, coming to the second part of the recognition that you got, which is next gen, and that is essentially the category that you fall in. How do you think the next gen is different from the generations gone by?
So now I see a lot of people who are in their 20s, who are running their own startups, and who are investing in stocks, who are freelancing to earn extra money, and investing that money in other meaningful things. And they are doing so many things, and that desire to learn more, that desire to be ahead of their time is what makes them so different than the last generation. So I think it's so inspiring. Other 19 people who were among the top 20 LinkedIn voice, they all have a very inspiring story. They all are uniquely different, but they all are doing something different from each other and creating an impact. So I think next generation is definitely very inspiring.
Great. So, talking about everyone having their own story. So, what would be the one story from your life, or it could be an instance or a broader theme, which defines Nancy?
So I think motherhood has brought a lot of changes in me. I realized my strength in this phase. I never knew I'm so patient as a person. My capacity to endure, my storytelling skills, and how ambitious I am as a working woman. I never knew that before becoming a mother, because I was away from work. I was not able to work, and people were advising me that bhul jao kaam 2 3 months, 2 3 years ke liye. I think, and I wanted to challenge that thing, that no, I will find a way to work. I can't live without doing my work. So I think motherhood has brought a lot of changes in me.
Great. So, as you mentioned, you became a mother at 24, 24, 25. And, you're still in your 20s and you've already found a venture which is reasonably successful. What more do you see yourself doing over the next 10, 15 years? Or what is it that you would like to do?
So I think I obviously have some ambitious plans for 100x entrepreneur, but I'm also being mindful that this is a very beautiful phase of my life. My baby is small, and I don't want to miss this time. So for now, I think I'm doing okay. Maybe after 1 year, I'll pick more things, but I don't want to miss out this time of my baby. So I'm not rushing. I'm just, trying to be as balanced as I can be.
You're essentially trying to stay calm and live in the moment, and the next 10 years plan will probably be formed in a year or two.
Yes, yes.
Great. Cool. So before we end, Nancy, as you may already know, we have a small rapid fire round where we have these three standard questions which we ask all our guests. Right. So the first question is, who are the three Indian women you look up to?
So I think Shraddha Sharma is first for giving us a wonderful platform like Your Story, where all the startups can share their stories. Second is Barkha Dutt for her powerful voice and stories. And third is Vinita Singh, founder of Sugar Cosmetics. I relate with her so much, and she is also a mother, she is an entrepreneur and a hustler. So I think she inspires me a lot.
Great. So the second question is, what are the top five wardrobe staples with Say Nancy?
So I always want comfort in my clothes. So I like wearing pastel shades tops and cotton maxi dresses and pajamas, of course, and tees and crop tops, I think.
Awesome. Cool. And the last one is any message that you would like to give all the youngsters, the next gen watching us today on, how to achieve their dreams, especially coming from someone like you who's spent a lot of time in, tier three small town India, and then, achieving the stuff that you've done at a pretty young age.
I think balance is not like getting to do all things. I think balance is getting to do or not compromising with things you love doing. So I think this is one message I want to give all the people who are listening to this podcast, and also especially women.
I absolutely love what you said. I think key to having a successful career, life, anything is just identifying things you're really good at and things you really enjoy. And if you can find the balance there, I think nothing can really stop you.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Thanks so much, Nancy. It was a pleasure talking to you. And let's stay connected.
Thank you so much, Adarsh, for hosting me today.
Thank you.